Hello, it's Fellonius the old yapper again, and I have a mystery on my hands. Um, you know the radio, right? Those channels that are playing music and talk and doing it 24/7. I suddenly realized that I have a big mystery. Me, myself, is a radio idiot. I love radio, and I always loved radio. I think, I'm not totally sure, but I think my first radio, I had that when I was like 12 or 13 years of age or something like that. Since way back 70, 71, something like that. I'm not totally sure. The year after, I got to get my brother's tape recorder, with those with the big wheels on, the big tapes. And I started to record from my radio. And the radio was on 24/7, even if it wasn't good. And then there came some sports, and you probably put the volume down, but I had it on all the time. And I also had, once upon a time, a wish to become a radio talk show host. I wanted to host the top programs of the day. We had something called 10 in top and the evening top. And it was the evening top was the sales of the records at the moment, and 10 in top was something that you voted for somehow. I'm not totally sure nowadays, but it was very good shows, and I love the new music that's come with it. There is one special memory, of course, Seasons in the Sun with Terry Jacks, and my father tried to be funny and translated it to not seasons as such as winters, or he took the other season stuff. Säsonger i solen. Let's have some seasons in the sun. And the radio has been following me. We had, at one work, we had these radio headphones, a yellow one. Of course, they had to be yellow because you have to see them. You had radio inside your headphones, and you could, with better batteries, of course. So you have to change battery once every other day or something like that. Me and my brother had one pair each, and we just went around and listened to the same music, of course. So the radio was on all of the time, but we also had to work in an environment with around 120 decibels. And the radio didn't provide that much. So it didn't save us from the noise, and it didn't give us the radio we want. So back then we had to use some other ear savers. But when that machine went dead and you have to mend it or something like that, yet another radio come on, because we wanted to have radio at work as well. I think some of the guys would love to have some TV and watch Stenmark go skiing down slope and the hockey team or whatever, sports. But radio. And then, even if I was at home, I'd watch radio, listening to radio. And most of my New Year's Eves was listening to the radio. I mean, that was my company. That was what I had. Not Christmas, but for New Year's Eve, I sat and listened to Clubbe, playing a lot of disco music and stuff. I really loved it. And through the years, I have used the radio in many different ways. I really loved radio up to the sports. We had some dogs that didn't like noise from outside of apartments, and we just put the radio on, and the dogs went quiet, and they liked radio, they as well. And wherever we moved, there was always the radio in the kitchen on first. There was no drapes up until we had the radio on, because it was just putting the cable in and put on the radio, try to find the right channel. But that was before the commercial radio came. That was when we only had 4 public service radio channels. And the first channel was mostly talk, news. The second channel was mostly classical music. And the third channel, up to 1971, was the pop channel, the culture, the modern stuff, and the sports. But then from 72, I'm not totally sure if it was 71 or 72, we had the P4. And the P4 was the local radio channel. When the local radio didn't transmit, it was the same as the number 3 channel. But P4 was very special because suddenly you can hear all kinds of music from very old to the latest one, and the talk of the town from where you lived. And that happened around the same time that I was, I like to know a bit about my environment at that point. And then, I thought it was 93 or something like that, I got to work at the radio. Just a thing or two, just to pop in and say hi and make some record lists. I was the one who decided what they're going to play in the radio for 9 months, me and a guy called David. That was while they were trying to make it computerized. So it should be more randomly. Not totally sure they succeeded while I was there, but it was fun. But it was also then I realized that making good radio and good radio shows is not something for amateurs. It wasn't really what I could do. I wasn't professional enough to do radio shows. So my dream of having my own radio show, it more or less went busted at that time. And then the internet radio came, and I started to listen to some channels here and there. But I still had my radio in the kitchen. And it's gone. I have no idea when, where, how. It's gone. I don't have a radio in my kitchen. How did that happen? I know I had some technical trouble with it because the volume didn't work perfectly and the channel chooser was a bit off. But you could hear it, and it was on when I had my last dog. I know that. That was like 2008, 2009. But now it's gone. It's gone. It's not there, and I can't find it anywhere. I must have thrown it away, of course. But why didn't I replace it? And I'm trying hard in my mind to get where did that go wrong? Because in my heart, I still love radio. I am a big radio fan. You can have your streaming TV or whatever. I want my radio. But I haven't bought a new one. And that is a mystery. That is the mystery. It's not the fact that it's gone. It's the mystery that it's gone from my mind. And I have accepted not to have a radio in my kitchen. How did that happen? I must have been really down under when I did that exchange. So I'm going to get myself a new radio, just as you know it, because this mystery has to be resolved. Perhaps I know why. If I get a new radio, I might start it up and listen to it and said, okay, that's the point. It's too much sports or whatever it is. I'm not totally sure. Radio mystery. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Bye.